You see the title. For the old timers, you know what this is. You know what this is. If anybody's seen my channel for the last few years, well, it's been maybe about 2 years since I last did one, or a year and a half. I don't even remember when I did the last one. I know I did a booking wrestler for Impact, for AEW, and I think I did for NXT. I think it's been a while. I don't remember. Guys, I have done more than 2,000 videos. I cannot remember my lunch from last week, let alone videos I produced in the last year or two, which could be more than 100. Guys, I've done more than 100 videos each year. I got over 2,000 videos. I can't remember. But I do remember I have done Booking the Wrestler. Now, if I remember, when I did Impact, I talked about Moose. That's just one of the people. Also, AEW talked about Darby Allin. I do not remember who I booked for either WWE or NXT. I don't remember. But I've done it. But as you see from the title, I got to do it. I must do a booking wrestler on her. Next to not knowing what we're going to get in the next couple hours. This is like about 4 something right now. We don't know if WWE is going to actually do a live show or not. Well, at least I don't know. They probably will. But just in case they don't, I wanted to give you guys some type of content, something, before we get to NXT, which is tomorrow. They will have to have something because it will be the second, and there's got to be something. So, let's put some context before we get started. We know in real life, Mercedes Mone's deal that she was working out with WWE in, whether it was Triple H, because we do know Kevin Dunn has left the company due to the fact that Vince ain't protecting him anymore. We know that. The deal fell out. So she's not going to show up at Royal Rumble. She's not going to show up at Elimination Chamber unless she does a very short-term contract. Maybe she could show up at WrestleMania, but I don't think so. Don't think so. She won't show up to WWE this year. I believe that to be true. So either she's going to go to New Japan Pro Wrestling and go to Wrestle Kingdom. Well, Stardom. I think she'll go to Stardom, which is connected to New Japan Pro Wrestling. AEW, which she could show up this Dynamite, because I do believe JD said that he did hear a report that Sean Ross Sapp or Dave Meltzer, I believe, said that her coming to AEW is imminent, or TNA at Hard to Kill. So I thought I'd do 2 booking the wrestlers in one. The first one is AEW. The second one will be TNA. I will give you a basic booking of what Mercedes Mone could be if I booked it. So, let's do a little bit of AEW. This is how I generally would book. And it's going to be rough. And I'm going to make it very clear. I didn't plan anything out. I have a basic premise of what might work. If anybody's seen me before when I'm trying to do these bookings, and I'll roll with what I may have had an idea of. So if I pause and I'm going, don't get mad. But let's paint a little picture. World's End. Without the controversy of I'm not going to cover Chris Jericho yet. Yes, there's some people have already speculated I'm not covering it. But taking away from that in World's End, let's say at the very end of World's End, when everything is done, we get a, let's make this clear. When we see Timeless Toni Storm, she comes out after the final match with MJF. Done. Finished. But she comes out and she wants to announce how she is the greatest champion the AEW Women's Division's ever known. She is posing. She is with a Luther by her side, holding the title. You got Mariah May standing by her, feeling so perky and happy. But then we get the music that we do know that she played when she went to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Money, 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 money. You hear it, and everyone realizes it's Mercedes Mone coming pretty much not from the back, but doing a Jon Moxley, because she wanted to make sure that she's not going to be like any other woman who's going to come from the back and be like a Rio or be like Saraya. She ain't going to be like none of them. She's going to be the way she wants. She decides to come out from the crowd like Jon Moxley. She's up on the top stage, and as the music is blazing and they're saying, what the hell, where is she? And then the camera's pan because the people will be seeing her cheering. Now, in this scenario, she will not be alone. You know who will be with her? Her husband. If you don't know, her husband currently is working in WWE. In real life, he is one of the people who works on the clothes of the wrestlers. He does their costumes. He'll do some material. He'll do their wardrobe. He'll do whatever they need. That's what he does. But in this situation, Makazi, that is the name he will use because that's what he uses on Up, Up, Down, Down when he was on it. That is what he'll use here, and he will be her manager. He is with her. He walks down through the crowd with her. People are cheering. People are going crazy. People are loving it. She comes out, and unlike Moxley, who has to jump over the guardrail, there are steps that have been set up ahead of time, and guess what? Her man, her Makazi, is guiding her over, and he jumps over the guardrail to be with her and gets into the ring because Tasteless Tony Storm, my timeless Tony Storm, I'm calling it tasteless. Timeless Tony Storm is in the ring with Luther, with Mariah May, and she walks in. She's not wearing high heel shoes. No, not in this situation. She's wearing very good clothes, but she's wearing sneakers. She's not, or boots, flat boots or sneakers. She gets into the ring. She's staring her down and she's going. And she's got a mic in her hand and she says, "Who are you, dear?" And Mercedes grabs that mic and says, "I'm a freaking Mandalorian. I am a multi-time champion. I got money, honey. And you are nothing." Throws the mic in her face and does a kick to her stomach and pile drives her into the damn mat. And her man is right by her side, raises her hand when she grabs that title and holds it over her head. She's holding one bit in one arm, and her man is holding her other arm. That is how she would come in. Now, does this seem a little bit overact? How can I say this? Did that sound a little over the top? Yes, because we are talking about Mercedes Mone. She wants to make an impact, so she decides to come out like Moxley, and that's what we get. But from this moment on, you sounds like she's a badass, but she's humble. When she shows up on Dynamite, she goes to the ring, and she tells everybody, "I bet all y'all didn't think I was going to come," and her man is by her side. And he basically, before she says that, she basically says, "Everybody get off your damn hands and get on your feet for the most glorious woman on this earth, Mercedes Mone." And just to show they actually do love each other, she gives him a kiss on the cheek. I mean, they are married in real life. They are in love with each other. Why not? Nothing wrong with having your actual hubby get a kiss on the cheek to make it clear that, girls, this is mine. And she also says that, "You wonder why I'm here? And also, just in case you wonder, this man right here is mine. This is my husband. Don't nobody take a look at him because I'm going to break your face." But I know she says that. Why not? Why not? She says clearly, it's a little bit more than that. I know I'm putting on a little bit of fanfare. I know I'm putting on a face, but I want to make this clear. I came here because I wanted the best competition. I came here because I want to be more. I want to be more than what I was in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I want to be more than I was in WWE. She actually admits it. I'm not Sasha Banks. I am Mercedes Mone. This is who I am. I am Mercedes. I am not what I was in New Japan. I'm not going to be what I was in WWE. I am going to be what I'm going to be in AEW. Before I go any further, before I do anything else, I need to call someone out. And she calls Saraya. And Saraya, no music. Let's say in this situation, she says, "Saraya, I need you to come out here. No music, no fanfare. I want you out here, girl, please. Please come out." And she comes to the ring, no music. She comes to the ring, she gets into the ring. Makazi steps back and she looks at her and says, Saraya, I called you out here because there are two reasons why I come to this company. One of them is for competition. One of them is to make it clear that I want to be with the best there is. But the other is you. For me, I had to come here because you're working again. I had to come here because I want to work with you. The last time we were in the ring together, you were done. Because of just doing some work in the ring, you finally reached the point you couldn't work anymore. And you were finished. And we never got a chance to really be able to work together correctly. We were in a tag match. I wanted a singles. But I didn't get that with you. I had to just settle for a tag. And then your neck finally gave out on you. And we never got a chance to really do anything after that, other than seeing each other and being friends. But now, knowing that you are healthy, which I'm happy for you, girl. This is what she says. I'm happy for you, girl. I love you. Now that you're healthy, now that you're happy, not trying to say all the bad things that happened, but she kind of iterates, now that you're healthy, now that you're happy, your life is not chaotic anymore. I'm so proud of you. But there's a problem. We never had a chance to really be together. We never had a chance to really work together. And the times we were together, there was a lot of problems for you and me. Now I'm here not just to be with the best women's wrestlers, but to be with a friend that I've always wanted to work with. And I'm hoping you'll let me work with you. She sticks her hand out. Saraya at this point is crying. She's crying because not only she's doing a character, but it's real. Because in real life, that's what happened with Saraya. Saraya, if you guys really know, the last match Sasha had with her was a tag match. And when Sasha was working with her in the ring, she went into the turnbuckle. But the moment she landed on the floor, she was shaking her arms and legs. Her legs would not, her shaking her arms, her legs would not work. She could not get back off the mat. She was done. She was retired after that. She could not work until they fixed her neck. So this is real life for her. Even though she's still playing a character of Saraya, which is her real name, here, this is real life. So when she comes into that ring and hears Mercedes say all of that, she just bursts into tears. And she goes to get a mic. She's holding the mic. And she stops crying and she says, you have no idea how important that means to me. How special that means. How important Let's say in this situation, that's exactly how she's speaking. Next to me botching. She could not compose herself. Purposely couldn't compose herself because it is partially real life and is work. She botches a bit on purpose while she's crying and wiping her eyes, and a little bit of mascara is running because she wants to make it as real as possible. She said, you guys can see, this ain't a joke. This is what she'll say after she botches. Hearing all that from you means more to me than anything. I want to work with you. Please, let's work together. And they just hug each other. Everyone loves it because Saraya is working with Mercedes, the two people that never got a chance to do a real story together because Mercedes was not at the same era as Saraya. She was not. It's afterward, and then Saraya could no longer wrestle. So in this situation, we get this. So fast forward about 3 months. 3 months. They're working together. They are wrestling together. Not in tag teams, but one is watching out for the other. Makazi is still with Mercedes. They could have a little bit of fun together. They can do a little bit of Be the Elite on YouTube. They're basically loving working together. Him as her manager, she's there, and Saraya on and off is working. And in this situation, Britt Baker is back, does not like Mercedes Mone. She gets freaking pissed off. and they start having a feud. That's what the last 3 months is about. Not Saraya and Mercedes tagging together generally or going against each other in an actual match. It is Britt Baker hating the fuck out of a Mercedes Mone. So she's going back and forth with her. And yes, you still have that new woman, I can't remember her name right now, the new one that's working with her. And Ruby Soho. There is no Taste Toni Storm. It is decided that after that moment, Taste Toni Storm, or Timeless, would not be interacting with her ever again, at least not now. So, fast forward about 3 months, you have Britt Baker wrapping up a feud with Mercedes, but at the same time, you finally have a moment where, should have been real life, Timeless Toni Storm should have went up against Saraya and could have had a proper feud where Saraya could have had the title and Toni Storm could be trying to get it from her, which should have been set up more properly. So, at the next pay-per-view, I can't remember what would be the best one. All Out, maybe? But essentially, when we get this situation where Saraya is up against Toni Storm, Saraya wins. Saraya wins the damn title. And after the months and months of her having to battle Britt Baker, but it's still being backed up by Saraya, Mercedes comes out with her man. And this is during the pay-per-view, nearing the end. She jumps into the ring. And as Saraya is holding that title over her head, and she's hugging her, you can see that Saraya is happy. Makazi standing back, holding the coat of his woman, clapping like this. And Ruby, as well as her new girl, I can't remember what she's called right now. Day, I think. I can't remember. You guys will have to tell me below. The one who was with the knife. But you get my point. You got this moment, but this moment doesn't last. Because as she hugs her and raises her hand, you see Mercedes clothesline the living crap out of Saraya. And then picks her up, clotheslines her again, because she already just had a fierce match with a Toni Storm. I know I can, be more liberal with the storyline of Toni Storm and Saraya, but this is about Mercedes, not about Saraya. So, she clotheslines her 3 times, and then pile drives her like she did Timeless Toni Storm. And Toni Storm is looking at this in horror because she's still doing that Timeless Toni Storm gimmick. And she basically grabs the title. She throws it at Toni Storm, not at Saraya, and says simply, "You're next, bitch." And she walks away. Everyone is confused and angry. But there's a full explanation because on the next Dynamite, she explains why I did it. Why did I attack Saraya, who's been in my corner for the last 3 months? Why have I done it? Simple. Because I'm tired of it. I said what I needed to say when I first came in this company. I wanted the best competition, and I wanted to work with someone I couldn't work with. But it wasn't about me. It wasn't about me. It was about Saraya rising to the occasion, and I'm there by her side instead of it being about me. Because everyone's saying, commentary saying, all the marks out there saying that I am clearly with one of the greatest wrestlers. And that she, because she got injured because of me, that she went away and came back, but now we're together. But that little bit about me injuring her, me being the one to injure her, I didn't do a damn thing. And this is what she says, and it is legitimate. She was already screwed up before I did a damn thing. And when she got thrown to that turnbuckle and hit the floor, and she started shaking her arm, it was not my damn fault. And I've been blamed for it for years. I felt guilty for years. I've been hounded by everyone for years, and I got sick of it. So, I decided, after the last 3 months, I've been fighting my ass off with Britt Baker, and you'd see Saraya by my side. But it wasn't like Saraya was there. It was about Saraya being there so she can look great. And have Britt Baker talk smack to her instead of talking smack to me. I felt insulted because supposedly, since Saraya came first, Britt Baker didn't like her even more than me and was talking trash about her while she was with me. What the hell about me? I don't want to be talked trash, but I want respect. So I decided to get my respect by taking out the one whose spotlight was being shining more than mine. So I took out Saraya. So now, me is the real deal. What you see here is the real Mercedes Mone. I'm not going to try and be kind anymore because I'm tired of being bashed. This is what she says. Saraya comes out angry. And you don't see Sasha like some other women just back down. When Saraya came out angry saying, who the F do you think you are, bitch? And she doesn't say a word when she jumps in the ring. She just elbows her in the face and beats the crap out of her and pile drives her again. That's what a Mercedes Mone did. Pile drives a Saraya straight on her head and ends it. And from that moment, she does not go straight after her. This is now about 3 to 4 months after she comes in the company. She continues. She goes up against Ruby Soho. She goes up against Toni Storm, who does not have the title right now. She goes up against Chris Statlander. She goes up against, and this is where it gets interesting, she gets a shot at the TBS title, which is currently under the waist of Julia Hart. She says, this little thing here, think because she's in a kind of like a blackish sting. Please, I'm blacker than she is. That's like the House of Black. She does go there. I know that's not something everyone enjoys, having stereotypes, but there's nothing wrong with it. Look what Swerve Strickland is doing, saying he wanted to be the first black AEW champion. Saraya does it. She says she's in a black group. Please, I've been black all my life. I'm more than her. And she proves it. She decides, I'm going to go after the TBS title. And she does. And she wins. But this is where it gets interesting. The minute she got that damn title on the next Dynamite, not Collision, not Rampage, the next Dynamite, she calls out Tony Khan. She calls him out. She says, Tony. She goes to the ring and says, guys, I got something to clear up. I got something to do. Tony, come here. I need Tony Khan in this ring right now. And she calls Tony Khan, and Tony comes to the ring and says, what do you want? She hands him the title. She says, I don't want this damn thing. I relinquish it. This thing's garbage. I want to trade that in for a title shot. And that's what she does. And at this point, All In would be coming up. She makes it very clear, I don't need that damn title. I want a title shot against Saraya because right now Saraya is up against Selena Deeps. I want a damn title shot at All In. I'm turning that in. I don't care about that damn title. It's nothing. Give me a title shot. Now, mind you, I'm sure people can say, dude, why not have her defended a couple of times? Well, unlike everyone else, like Chris Statlander, Julia Hart, and Jade Cargill, they're always doing open challenges. She does not do that. She says, I'm not going to wait to have this moment. I am going to go for it now. So that's what she does. She says, take this damn title, give me a clean title shot. I'm handing it in for a chance at the title. I want it. I don't care. At All In Wembley, because at this point, this will be the third year Wembley. Instead of right now, this will be the second year. This will be the third year. Because I'm, in a sense, if Mercedes had time to develop properly, this would be going all the way into 2025. Because she would go through all of the women on the main roster. She'd go through Mercedes Martinez. Hell, let's say she goes through Athena. She goes through a Selena Deeps. She goes through a Madison Rain Madison Rain. She's using that name right now. She goes through all the women in the roster. It leads into 2025. And she says, and all in, I'm giving you this damn title. I want the shot. And Saraya gives it to her. She says she wants to hand it in for a shot at me. More power to her. All right, I'll do it. But she still has to go through Selena Deeps, which at this point, if you don't know in real life, Selena had 3 seizures, which I'm so glad she's all right. And I didn't say this at World's End. She did have a vignette of her coming back, so I'm glad about that. But in this situation, Selena Deeps has been back for almost a year. She's been on a tear, and now she's earned the right to go against Saraya. But in this situation, on a collision, instead of Saraya fully defending her title, she doesn't get that option. As the match was going on, you got Mercedes coming out quietly without anyone looking and nails a Selena Deeps on the back of the leg with a kendo stick. She found a way to get into the ring. Yeah, and Mercedes and the ref did not see it. She nails her. She falls down and she pins her. And then when it was all said and done and was still awarded the win, that is when Mercedes stands up with the damn kendo stick on her shoulder and she says, "Get ready, bitch." She throws it to the ground and the music plays and she walks away. This is what we got leading into All In at Wembley. And this is what we get. The second to final match of the night. I know you're going to say, wait, why not the final match? No, because Samoa Joe is current champion. I will not do that at Samoa Joe. I'm not going to do that. It will be the second to last match. It will be Saraya and Mercedes Mone. Second to last match of the night. And in this match, it would be a very good match. You would have a lot of fast-paced work between the two. You would see Saraya do exactly what she did when she first came back, when she was up against Britt Baker, if you guys remember, that when she first came back and people were questioning if her neck was all right, she acted like her arms and everything, like the time when she was in the ring with Mercedes, when she was Sasha, the same thing. When she got thrown into a turnbuckle, she hit the floor and she started shaking and trying to feel her arms again. And yes, it's cliche. And people would recognize it, but it would be the best thing to do because of the original living, real story of when Mercedes, Sasha Banks, was wrestling her in a tag match. She threw her into a turnbuckle. She hit the mat, if I'm remembering correctly. And I don't think she gave her a suplex. I think she gave her a hit to the mat or a suplex. I think it was hitting the mat after she went to a turnbuckle. But it could be wrong. But essentially, she's shaking her arms, trying to feel it again. But in this situation, she is faking it, but everyone is thinking it. And Mercedes is relishing it. And in this situation, it didn't work. Because that's what she did with Britt. But Mercedes saying, "I'm not falling for that." She stands back and waits on the ring rope. She's waiting on the second turnbuckle, just going like this. She ain't going to play that game. She thought, and that Saraya thought, that she can trick her like Britt Baker during when she first came into the company. But Mercedes said, no, not playing it. And then Saraya stops. And she sees it, and she realized it didn't work. And she gets up. You said, you know you did that to me. And she said, "I ain't do a damn thing to you, girl. You're doing that right now." She said, "You made me go away for 4 years." I think 3 or 4 years. Or 5. I can't remember how long it's been for her in real life when she couldn't work. And they just throw ham at each other. They just try to break each other's jaws after that point. Because Saraya legitimately got mad even though her trick didn't work. And Mercedes is even angrier that she's like, "You trying to put me into that?" As the match goes on, Mercedes and Saraya are dead even. There is no winning. They're both just dead even. The crowd is cheering. And it takes one thing that saves her. Makazi. Makazi gets nailed because he was trying to help up a Mercedes. That's his wife. He loves his wife. She got thrown out of the ring pretty hard. He wanted to check and see if she was all right because in real life she did break her ankle and she was grabbing her ankle, her right ankle. And as he's checking her, Saraya grabs him by his collar and his pants or his belt and throws him literally into the guardrail. She grabs Mercedes, throws her into the ring. And guess what? He didn't take it lightly. So, when it came down to it, he decided he was going to wait. He got back up, and he waited when she comes in range, when the ref wasn't looking, grabs her legs and sweeps it out. She goes face first into the mat, stunned. He walks away like nothing happened. But at that point, that was all Mercedes needed, because at that point, she gives her not just one elbow drop to the back of her neck, 3 elbow drops to the back of her neck. Then she drags into the middle of the ring and then flips her over and does simply the most nicest froggy you could see. Basically a frog splash onto Saraya to respect Eddie because she loves Eddie Guerrero. And she wins the title. This will be the moment that she's been waiting for. She wins the title. Her man gets into the ring. He holds it up in the air. She's being swirled around by her man in her arms. And she hugs him, gives him a big ass kiss, which pisses off a lot of fans that are males because they want that. She is literally tonguing the man because she loves the man, because she knew exactly what he did. He did it just at the right time, so she wanted to reward him. And that's that. So when it came to after the match is over and she goes to the scrum, because it's going to be at the scrum, Mikaze's right by her side. And someone asks a question saying, okay, so how did you feel by having this win and there being some possible controversy? He says, what controversy? There's no damn controversy. I won that damn match. And I had by my side the one person who's been with me from the very damn beginning. The person that loves me, the person that has been devoted to me for the good things and bad things in my life. It is this man. This is mine. This is my man. And she just grabs him and gives him tongue again in front of everybody and said, "Mwah, this is mine. This is my piece of meat. Don't anybody touch him." And we go from that to here. That is booking the wrestler for a, how can I say this? For AEW. Now, let's go for booking the wrestler TNA. This is where it's going to get very interesting, because in real life, we don't know if she'll go to TNA. But this is what I think might happen. So, Hard to Kill. We're having the match between a Trinity and a Jordan Grace. Let's say this is the final match of the night. Not when it comes to Alex Shelley and Moose, because I believe Moose is getting a shot there. Yeah, he's getting a shot at Hard to Kill. It is not them. It's Trinity and it's Jordan Grace. That's what we end with. Jordan Grace gives Trin one hard-ass match. She is getting battered because, let's make this clear, in real life, Trinity is like this. I mean, and Jordan is like with this. So she is not even close to the strength of a Jordan Grace. But she does pull it out with a good victory with Starstruck, her signature submission. She does win. And as everyone is cheering and the music plays, something happens. The music goes off. The music stops. Because at this point, and I'm going to say this clear, I know this won't happen, but Courtney Love decides to reboot back to Rosemary. Rosemary also gets a partner rebooted, and that would be Havoc. But on top of it, at this time, they would have a new partner. And it would not be who you would think, like Crazy Steve. It would be Abaddon. Abaddon would go to TNA and would be working there right now. So she would have been there for at least a couple of months already. And she's trying to prove herself to Rosemary and Havoc that she can kick ass. And as the lights go down and they go up, Abaddon's in the ring, Rosemary and Havoc are by her side, and she just attacks Trinity. And pretty much Jordan Grace is going up against Rosemary and Havoc, and they are losing. But then someone decides to throw Trinity outside the ring. And that was not Abaddon. That would be Rosemary. Rosemary grabs Trinity as she's about to lift her up. Someone stands up in the crowd wearing a hood and like a sweat jacket and a hood. And she's standing straight in Rosemary's face because here's the guardrail. Here's Rosemary as she's grabbing Trinity, who is right up to the guardrail. She's staring her in the face, said, "Who the hell are you?" And she goes, bang! Right to Rosemary's face with an elbow. And the hood comes down, and it is Mercedes Mone. She unzips her zipper, she jumps over the guardrail, and she starts pounding on Rosemary. And as she's pounding, Havoc is about to come out from the ring and try to help out. But Trinity composes herself, and she manages to get back and keep a Havoc busy, manages to hammer into one of the turnstiles, well, it's not turnstiles, but turn post, one of the posts, and she's stunned, knocked out. And once that happens, they start ganging up on Abaddon and Rosemary. And to be honest, I want to make this clear. I think Abaddon will probably be better off going to TNA because of her gimmick of the undead girl. Like Sue Young as the undead bride. I'm just being her. When it was all said and done, you got Jordan Grace, you got Trinity, and you got Mercedes in the ring together. And Trinity cannot believe that Mercedes is there. And she just grabs her and just hugs her to death. She's so happy. Now the next Impact, I believe in Impact Zone. It's not going to be called Impact. The Impact Zone, Mercedes comes out with Trinity. And she tries to explain, look, this is what's going on. We have been friends for a long time. And I love this girl. I love her. We left where we were before. And they do cover it. They don't say completely what happened. But they said, we had been working together. We had been tagging together. But we weren't happy. So we both moved on. I went to New Japan. Trin came here. But as time went on, and as you guys know, I broke my ankle. I was home with my husband. But I saw something interesting, something that sparked something in me. I saw Trinity having fun. And she became champ, and I was so proud of my girl. So now, I wanted to enjoy that too. So, I wanted to come and see her on one of her most toughest matches. I didn't tell her. And Trinity said, yeah, girl, I was angry. When this was over, after we hugged, I was angry at you for not telling me. She said, I had to. I wanted to surprise you. And since I'm here, I want to know what it's like. So, after the match is over, I asked, can I have a match today? Even though I'm not signed to this company. And I've been given a match. So tonight, guys, you're going to see me have a match. And Trin is going to be there with me. And the first person that comes out, who had to come out, because even though Mercedes Mone isn't on tap yet, we get a Gazelle Shaw coming out with her entourage. And she says, so you are, who do you think you are in my ring? And she says, well, I'm Mercedes Mone. I'm a multi-time champion. I am the woman who worked in Mandalorian, and I'm looking for a challenger for today because I asked for a match. You want it? You want to go up against a real woman? And she says, a real woman? Yeah, real woman who has stardom, unlike you. And Gazelle Shaw takes back, excuse me? I got stardom? Yeah. Gail, Kim, and you in Amazing Race Canada. And what happened to you? You lost. And she got pissed at that. She says, okay, you want it? You got it. So at the end of the night, we get a match. We get a match between Gazelle Shaw and Mercedes Mone. And it was obvious that Trin was there, but Savannah Evans and Vidal was going to interfere, which they did. But Mercedes manages to win. And from that moment on, Mercedes goes through the entire roster. Yes, there's not that much of a roster. She goes through Alicia Edwards. She goes through Danny Luna, because now in real life she is signed. So she goes through Danny Luna. She also goes through Rosemary. She goes through Havoc. She goes through Abaddon. She goes through multiple people. She goes through Jordan Grace. The next person she's going to go up against would be Deonna Purrazzo, who at this point was going to get a shot at the championship. But in this situation, she had been losing a lot beforehand. And now only recently she managed to win in a battle royal with the women to get this shot. And Mercedes comes in and said, girl, I don't think you should even have this match because you haven't earned it. You've been losing. The only reason you won is because of the technicality in that battle royal. And she says, really? I'm the best there is. He says, all right, put it on. Put it on. Let's go. She said, you want a match? She said, yeah, but for your shot at Slammiversary, I want your shot. And that's what Mercedes did. Now, of course, Trinity's still champ. And Mercedes wanted a shot against Deonna Purrazzo for that damn title. So, she gets a shot as the second last match of the night at Slammiversary to win the opportunity to take that shot from Deonna Purrazzo. It was agreed on. But here's the thing. In this situation, she does not win the match. Even though the match is quite good. Quite good. She doesn't win it. And it's due to the fact of one person that interfered in that match that at this point she would be surprised that it happened. Because in this match, she gets screwed over by Saraya. Yeah. At this point, Saraya is still working with AEW, but they made an agreement because, let's make this clear, TNA, once they go back to TNA, in real life has a deal with Discover, I believe, Discover. And they're going to be working with the parent company of TKO WWE. They are. No, Endeavor, not Discover, Endeavor. So they are working with their streaming service. So AEW would also be working in the streaming service. And there was a little cross promotion on that match. Well, not in that match, but in the Slammiversary, where we got an AEW wrestler in Saraya going up against a wrestler, Jordan Grace. She actually does a match for TNA because of the work that both of them are doing with Endeavor streaming. They just have one match with her in it. But she screwed her over. And she's going, what the hell? And in this situation, Saraya screwed over a Mercedes Mone and says on AEW TV, the reason I screwed over Mercedes Mone is because she messed me up for years. I wanted revenge. That's why I did it. And both of them on their respective shows are literally saying that's not right, and the other one says it is right. And eventually, both Tony Khan and Scott D'Amore both do a vignette together, and that will be seen on both companies, that there would be a match. Basically, setting up for Multiverse of Madness, where there would be one match that would be for TNA with an AEW champion. Well, not champ. Well, why not? An AEW champion versus a TNA wrestler, which would be at this time Samoa Joe, who's well known in TNA, versus a Josh Alexander, who generally he's never really dealt with. And when it comes to the women, it will be Saraya versus Mercedes Mone, with the original story of their real life situation where, like I said in the previous part of this, that Saraya got thrown into a turnbuckle or suplex, and she could not feel her arms or her legs. So that would be the story. That they have not dealt with each other since then, and Saraya's life was a big mess after that, and she wanted revenge on Mercedes Mone. And that is the reason why they happened the match. In this situation, Mercedes wins that match and makes it clear to everybody that she did not mean to hurt a Saraya, who was bitter as hell because of it. And in this situation, where the match went on, it was a very intense match. Saraya was just showing rage because she was so mad at what happened. And in this case, since Mercedes is a good guy, she's trying to make it clear to her, I didn't mean to hurt you. By the end of the match, when Mercedes wins, she walks over with a mic in her hand and says, Saraya, I love you. I didn't mean to hurt you years ago. You should know that. I suffered just as great as you. I never wanted to hurt someone that I wanted to wrestle and who was my friend. Please know that I didn't mean it. I love you. And Saraya's crying. And she gets up and she looks at her and says, please understand. All I ever wanted was the best for you. I didn't want you to be hurt. Please. No, I mean it. I love you. Please don't be angry. And she hugs her. Saraya hugs Mercedes. And that's how they end their match. But after this, final step for Mercedes Mone. After this match, and Trinity was so proud of her. And she was also at ringside and got in the ring and hugged both of them. When they went back to Impact Zone, you got Saraya not there because AEW and TNA are done with their arrangement of Multiverse United or Multiverse of Madness. Counting if they do another Multiverse of Madness 2 or United 2 or 3. She goes to Trenton. That's Mercedes. Says, girl, it's almost time for Bound for Glory. He says, yeah. You don't have a match this time. You mind if I take you? And she looks at her and says, I've been hoping you would say that. I didn't want to do anything yet until you cleared up any mess that was going on with everyone. But I've been wanting this for so long. I've been wanting to face you. And this is Trinity talking to Mercedes. They're both faces. They're not fighting each other. They both legitimately love each other. And she says, girl, I've been wanting this for so long. I didn't want to say anything because of what was going on with Saraya. But this is what I really want. So now, Bound for Glory, they both get their match. And it's at the end of Bound for Glory they're having this match. And when it comes down to it, and understand, this is still my interpretation of booking. What we get at the end of the show is not just Mercedes Mone and Trinity Fatu. We also get Mercedes' husband, Makazi. He's at ringside. He comes out with her. And he's at ringside. He gives his wife a big hug and kiss and says, you can win this. But Trinity is not alone either. The person that comes out with her will not be John. It won't be Jimmy Uso. It's Rikishi, her father-in-law. He's the one that comes out with her. Because, of course, Jimmy is not able to go to TNA. He can't just appear on their TV because he's on a contract with TKO WWE. But her father-in-law did come out with her. He chose, he said it in some vid packs beforehand, just like Makazi, he would say for his wife, I love my wife. I'm here for her. There's no one that's going to stop me from being with my wife. And when it came to Rikishi, he said, and he'll be a little honest here, he says, I know I've not been a great father to my sons. I love my sons, but as they both know, Jonathan and John, that it's hard to be a father who's a pro wrestler. They know this themselves right now. And there were things I just couldn't do that I wanted to. Like when it came to Trinity, when it came to John, her husband, my son. I could not be there for their marriage years ago. But this time, right now, I can be with her. I can be there for both of them, even if only one is here. Because I want to let my daughter know that she's not alone, that she's part of my family, and I love her. And he's there. And both the Monet and Trinity's prospective relatives are there. The husband and the father-in-law are at ringside. And they tear that mess up. The first time they've ever had a chance to really work together in the ring against each other. In either a very long time or ever. Because they were part of Team Bad. I believe that was what it called. It's been a long time since when it came to Trinity, when it came to Sasha Banks, and when it came to Tamina, who finally wins a title but really doesn't gain anything. But she finally gets this match with her. And it's a great match where it was very fast paced. But Trinity's more of a hybrid wrestler where she can do some mat work, but also submission high flying. Where when it comes to Mercedes, she's more orientated towards doing a lot of high flying with some submission. But Trinity's better than her. Trinity is way better than her in this match. And in the end, Trinity wins, not Mercedes. But it was not the point of Mercedes winning the match. She headlined Bound for Glory. She was with her husband, who wanted to be there so badly. He got into the ring after the ring bell was done. Trinity hugged a Mercedes. And then Makazi jumped into the ring and he hugged her as well. He said, "I'm so proud of you. I love you." And Mercedes just starts to cry in his arms because she was so happy. She was sad she lost, but she was so happy. She had a chance to be with her best friend in the world on a major pay-per-view with a company that basically specializes in women. And she's crying. Finally, she stands up with her husband. Rikishi's in the ring with Trinity. And Trinity's holding a mic. And she says, "Everybody here, I want you to know something. This is on the real. I've known this woman for years. I love this woman. And after what happened to us a couple of years ago, we both had to separate. We could not be what we wanted to be. We had to go our separate ways, but we finally came back together, and we both freaking headlined a major pay-per-view, and we both loved it. I loved wrestling this woman. I love this woman. There is no one else I consider the best I've ever dealt with, and never ever going to meet another better person or better friend I love." The minute Mercedes heard that, she just grabbed Trinity and just cried in arms. And that is how they ended Bound for Glory 2025, because it's going 2024 to 2025. That's what we got here in this Booking the Wrestler. Mercedes Mone in TNA and AEW. I really hope you enjoyed this. I have no idea if you're going to like this. It sounds a bit choppy. I'm sorry. Like I said, it just comes out of me. It's not like I have notes. There's no notes. This is just me coming up with something. I really hope you like it. Peace.